The school cafeteria buzzed with the usual chaos of lunchtime, trays clattering, laughter echoing, and conversations overlapping. To most students, it was just another ordinary day. But for Maya, it was anything but ordinary. It was her first week at this new school. She had transferred in from another city after her parents' divorce, and she carried with her the weight of starting over, new classes, new faces, and no friends. For someone shy and reserved like her, the transition felt like climbing a mountain barefoot. Maya's hazel eyes darted around the cafeteria as she balanced her tray. Every table seemed full of cliques, full of laughter she wasn't part of, full of belonging she hadn't yet found. Finally, she spotted a small table in the corner, empty and quiet. She breathed a sigh of relief and made her way over. For a few moments, peace. She unwrapped her sandwich, pulled a worn-out notebook from her bag, and began to sketch. Drawing was her escape, her way of shooting. "Hey!" The voice came sharp, cocky, dripping with arrogance. Jake Miller, the school's infamous troublemaker, towered over her. He had a reputation, not just for being cruel, but for enjoying it. His posse, 2 boys and a girl, stood close behind, smirking like they were watching their favorite show. Maya looked up cautiously. "This is my table," Jake said, slamming his tray down. "You don't sit here unless you ask." She swallowed, steadying her voice. "There are plenty of other tables." The cafeteria grew quieter. Everyone knew Jake loved an audience, and now he had one. Jake sneered. "What's this?" He reached across the table and snatched her notebook. He flipped through the pages, loud enough for nearby students to see. "Oh look, doodles. Little flowers and fairy drawings. Cute. Guess the new girl's still in kindergarten." His friends laughed, their voices cutting deep. Maya's cheeks burned, her hands trembling as she reached out. "Give it back." Jake held the notebook higher, just out of reach. "What are you gonna do? Cry? Call mommy?" A hush fell over the cafeteria. The new girl had been marked, and humiliated. Maya froze for a moment, her heart hammering in her chest. She had spent her whole life avoiding conflict, staying small, trying not to be noticed. But something inside her snapped. Her voice was calm, almost too calm. "You think you're tough, Jake? Stealing a notebook from someone who's smaller than you?" Jake blinked. He wasn't used to his victims talking back. "What did you just say?" She stood slowly, her eyes locked on his. For the first time, the cafeteria saw not a shy girl, but something different, something steady, unshakable. "I said," Maya repeated, "you're not strong. You're afraid. That's why you hide behind your friends. That's why you pick on people who can't fight back. That's not strength. That's weakness." The room went silent. Even Jake's friends stopped laughing. Jake's face flushed red with anger. "You've got a smart mouth, new girl. Let's see if you can back it up." He shoved her shoulder roughly. And that was his mistake. In less than a heartbeat, Maya moved. Years of martial arts training, taught by her older brother, a decorated instructor, kicked in. She grabbed Jake's wrist, twisted it smoothly, and in one fluid motion had him pinned against the table. His tray clattered to the floor, food spilling everywhere. Gasps erupted around the cafeteria. Jake's knees buckled as he struggled, but her grip was firm, controlled. She didn't hurt him, she just made it clear she could. "Say you're sorry," she said, her voice steady. What? No, he spat, trying to yank free. But her grip tightened, and the pressure made him wince in pain. His pride was cracking in front of the entire school. I said, Maya repeated firmly, say. You're sorry. Finally, Jake broke. His voice cracked as he shouted, I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sorry. She released him, and he stumbled back, clutching his wrist. The cafeteria erupted in whispers, shock, and awe. The king of bullies had just been dethroned. By the quiet new girl. Jake fled the cafeteria, his gang trailing behind him, their loyalty shaken. Students who had once feared him now looked at Maya with wide-eyed respect. Some began clapping. Others cheered. For the first time in a long time, the cafeteria felt lighter, freer. Maya sat back down, her hands trembling now that the adrenaline was fading. She picked up her notebook, brushed it off, and quietly resumed her lunch as though nothing had happened. But everything had changed. Over the next few days, students who had once ignored her began to approach Maya. Hey, that was amazing, one girl said shyly. You really put Jake in his place, another added. Want to sit with us tomorrow? A boy offered. Maya realized something important. Her act of courage had not only silenced a bully but had also inspired others who had felt powerless. She wasn't just the new girl anymore. She was the girl who proved that courage wasn't about being loud or popular, it was about standing up, even when you're scared. As for Jake, his ego had been shattered. He avoided Maya, too embarrassed to cross paths. But behind his anger, a seed had been planted. No one had ever stood up to him like that before. For the first time, he saw what it felt like to be powerless. And though he'd never admit it out loud, he learned something that day: respect is earned, not forced. Weeks later, Maya found herself walking out of class when a girl she didn't know stopped her. Hey, thanks. Jake used to mess with me, too. But he hasn't since you stood up to him. You don't know how much that meant. Maya smiled softly. Sometimes you just have to show people you're not afraid. And as she walked away, she realized her new school wasn't so terrifying anymore. She had found her strength, and in doing so, she had given others theirs. Because the truth is simple, a bully messed with the new girl, and a minute later, he was begging for mercy. But what he didn't realize was that her greatest strength wasn't her martial arts. It was her courage.